All right. Well, to all the movie lovers and 80s enthusiasts out there, welcome back to Gonzo and Mike and a VCR. I'm Gonzo.
Hey, this is Mike.
We're going to discuss some of the best and worst movies from the 80s, 90s, and even beyond that. So we're gonna give you our take on them, make a recommendation. We're also going to give it a rating. So let's get started. Is your cell phone silenced, Michael?
It is.
All right. So in this episode, we're looking at Can't Buy Me Love from 1987. So I'm just going to talk about this film for a little bit. Definitely wasn't a blockbuster. I think we said Karate Kid that we did in last episode grossed 130 million, right?
Oh, yeah.
This one is 31.6 million. So way, way less than Karate Kid. So it received mixed reviews. Mike, I'm telling you, I read a review at the time from the New York Times,
Mhm.
and they just roasted it. They just said it was just terrible, although they thought it was a good idea in theory. And Roger Ebert, remember Siskel and Ebert?
Oh, yeah. Thumbs
So
up, thumbs down.
Roger Ebert gave it a half star out of four possible stars,
Oh,
and this thing's got 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. Um, but then again, look over here. Entertainment Weekly listed it as number 41 out of the top 50 high school movies in history. So, and your lead Patrick Dempsey, he won Best Young Actor in a Motion Picture Comedy Award. And then Amanda Peterson and Tina Caspery, who we'll talk about, they were both nominated for Best Young Actress in Motion Picture Comedy Award. So, and the film itself was nominated for the Best Family Motion Picture Comedy. So, it's mixed reviews. The people are roasting it, some of them, and then pretty some awards, some nominations at least. Um, so pretty interesting there. So okay, people may not have seen this in a little while, so I'm going to explain this plot. This was one of my picks, Mike. So I'm going to go ahead and take it away if that's cool.
sure.
Okay, so the plot. Here's what happens. There's this guy. He's like a geek, and he's saving a lot of money over the summer, and oh, I guess all the weekends he mows lawns. This is what he does. So he mows lawns and he's saving a bunch of money, and he's trying to buy like this telescope because he's a geek and he's trying to buy. That's what geeks do, I guess. He's a bookworm type of guy. He's really smart, gets great grades. So then one of the people he mows the lawn for is like the prettiest girl in the school, just absolute knockout. And so he sort of like has this crush on her, and she borrows one of her mother's a very expensive dress, like an outfit from her mother that's suede, and she's going to wear it to a party. This is right before the school year starts. And so she goes there, and this guy, who's one of my favorite characters, we'll talk about him later, spills a bunch of red wine all over this suede outfit that she has. And this outfit's like $1,000, right? And so she's like, oh my God, she takes it back to the store in the mall where her mom got it. And this kid is right at the mall about to buy this telescope with all this money he's earned, and he sees through the telescope, like he's looking, testing it out. He sees her going in there, and they do it without you having to hear what they're saying. She's like, hey, listen, I need to return this. This is stained. And the guy's like, you could buy a new one. Like, you're not returning that thing. It's got red wine spilled all over it and stained into it. So this guy gets this crazy idea. This is the crux of the movie here. He says, I'm going to go over there. He leaves the telescope store. He goes over, and he holds money up in the window, knocks on the window. And she's like, basically, she doesn't have $1,000, but she needs to replace this dress before her mom finds out, because her mom told her, do not borrow that damn thing. So he holds it up and he makes a deal with her. And the deal is, hey, you date me for 2 months. And let me see us in school together, eat lunch together. They make this deal and go out to some school dances or whatever, and he's thinking, 2 months of this, I'm going to be seen with the most popular, most beautiful girl in school. I'm going to be popular, and it's my senior year, and I'm going to, and then the movie just goes from there. It shows his rise to glory and fame, and his stupidity for not realizing that she actually starts liking him, right? Which is a guy thing. Guys are stupid. And then through the breakup, and then he goes and is like hanging out with all her friends still, and he's a popular guy. And then finally, like by New Year's Eve, so this is on Christmas break, it falls apart. And she tells everyone at this party, and he like becomes enemy of the state. He's persona non grata. He is at the bottom of the barrel. And then, he just goes back. He wants to fix this with her. There's a couple of different things he does. And finally, in the end, this is why it's like a feel good movie. In the end, like she agrees, like, okay, like maybe we can hang out a little bit. Does that sound good, Mike? What do you got to add to this thing?
It does. The only thing I would add, like you said, at the end, it kind of gives you some inkling that they're going to be together from now on. She jumps on the back of his riding mower, and just in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, is this going to last for the whole mow, or are they going to, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's sort of like they give the idea of they're riding off into the sunset, right? But it's
yeah,
on a mower, and they do kiss, right? So,
yeah. And he's
all
even got the cowboy hat on.
yeah, I don't know where that comes from. By
No,
the way, this guy wears the stupidest hats throughout the movie, right?
yep.
Like he's wearing a beanie or something, like a beret or something. I don't know, but he plays a pretty good geek. So that's the plot for those people. If you're from the '80s, you probably remember this. If you were one of those 31.6 million people, or not, it wasn't 31.6 million dollars. So what was a movie back in the '80s, Mike? Like,
That was like $2 or $3 maybe.
yeah, $3 ish or something like that.
Yeah.
So first things first, I want to talk about this. Had you seen this movie before you watched it to prepare for this podcast?
I saw this in the theater when I was
Oh,
15. Yep. I was on a trip. One of my buddies, his family took me on their family vacation. We didn't have, since we were underage, there wasn't a lot to do at nighttime. So this came out. I think a recurring theme is I'm just going to bring up the Lost Boys in every single episode.
yeah.
This came out the same summer that the
Oh,
Lost Boys came out.
okay.
Uh, so we went to see this one night in Savannah, Georgia. We went to see the Lost Boys another night. We were down in Panama City Beach. And I kind of deferred to my buddy since I was on his family vacation. It was we were going to go see one of the two again. We went to see this one a second time. And like you said, this was kind of a sleeper movie because back then I don't remember us even hearing about this coming out. We were just looking for something to go watch, and there it was.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't seem like there was a big buildup. I felt like for your Karate Kid or something, maybe they tried to put a little bit more out there, but frankly, I can't even remember. But
Mhm.
all right. So yeah, I had seen it 100% when it came out. I don't remember all the details about it, but this 1987 would have been my first year out of school graduating. So I'm going to give you like my take on it real quick, Mike, before we get your general take on it. Like, I feel like I liked this movie extra because it was a year after graduation and because I was wasting my life doing nothing but partying and like working at a gas station. This was before I decided to go in the military, and I felt like this movie made me think back to like, oh, like high school was fun. Like if this was last year, right, I could be hanging out with people and having no worries or whatever. I feel like that's what made me like it back then a little bit right after my graduation. So I really remember liking it when it came out. And my first take is like the cliques that they show of the different groups of kids. I mean, this is like high school really was in the '80s. That's it. So overall, my first take is like of course it's exaggerated and it's funny, but there were definitely those groups and those lines were drawn. So I thought it was pretty real to that issue. So my first take was like, hey, I really like this movie. So what about you?
Yeah, no, I liked it. Maybe not as much as you do, Gonzo. I probably like the Lost Boys a little bit more, but like you said, it was a good time in life. I was 15. We were having fun, headed to the beach. It was kind of a fun movie. But yeah, once we get into it, yeah, we'll talk more about the specifics. And
Yeah, yeah.
oh
I
yeah,
can't believe Lost Boys wasn't on your initial list because
I
you
know.
mentioned it. You
I'm
mentioned it every time here. So
I'm starting to question that myself.
I'm thinking we might have to change something.
All right.
We might have to change something. So um, all right. So the main characters I want to talk about the main our leading person, Ronald Miller. This is Patrick Dempsey. What? How do you feel about this character, Mike?
Well, start off just to say a little bit about Patrick Dempsey. I think he was absolutely perfect for this role. I don't know about you, Gonzo. I don't think I had ever seen him before. I did a little bit of research. I think the only things he had done, which were two perfect places to hide, he had done Meatballs 3. I think we'll both agree. If you've seen the first Meatballs, that's all you need to see.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there's no way that I know for sure I've never even thought about watching Meatballs 3.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know there were three.
Exactly. And there shouldn't have been. The second thing he did, and he was in the TV version of Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Now, whoever thought that was a good idea? Apparently, they did this with Animal House too, because for whatever you loved about Fast Times, and I loved it, and I loved Animal House, that was not going to translate to network TV. But
No.
apparently, yeah,
I had no clue.
yeah. So, uh, broadly, I thought Ronald as a character was a genius, and like you said, he was into astronomy. He was a bookworm. I can absolutely see him becoming a psych major because he had such insight into the social psychology of everybody around him. He was already in touch with the social proof. He's like, all I have to do is get success around me. Everybody's going to be seeing me as one of the cool kids. So, and Cindy tells him, said, just going out with me isn't going to make you popular, Ronald. And he said, I've got $1,000 that says it will. Uh,
Perfect.
and you've already said this, Gonzo, but that beret, to me, my personal opinion, that only looks cool on people in the military. If he had just taken that off early on, first part of the movie, his popularity would have surged by 20%, not doing
That's
anything else.
That's right. He looks terrible. Then he shows up the first day of school, right? And
Yep.
she rips his sleeves off, takes the damn beret off, like all the obvious things, and puts a bunch of mousse in his hair and everything. So, yeah, I
Yep.
thought he played a really good character too. I thought he's believable to be the bookworm. I thought he
Mhm.
was believable also to be able to transition into that role because, I mean, he's not like he's not a real big guy or anything,
Mhm.
but he's not as bad as like Ralph Macchio that we talked about, right? This guy, like, he works outside, he's mowing lawns, he's doing yard work all day, and he looks decently, just generally like he could pull off the character he's pulling off. Um, so yeah, good guy, but he's been in a lot of TV though, right?
Yeah.
An adult, I don't watch a lot of TV, especially like shows, but I've seen his face. Wasn't he like playing a doctor in one of these like big, Thursday night type of drama series or something?
Yeah, I'm like you, man. I know he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
Even as I want to say he was in some kind of romantic comedy movies too later on, but
sure.
I haven't seen a whole lot of his work
Yeah,
since.
I think you're right. I think you're right. But yeah, it's I don't know this but he's done TV, like he's a well-known person to people who watch TV, which I guess is not us because we watch movies, right? We're from
That's
the
right.
80s. So want to move on here. Of course, his main love interest, the one with the dress, that's all that gets ruined, and this is why Ronald, which she calls him Donald, right? First
Yep.
when she first is, and he's like, "Listen, before we do this, my name is Ronald. You can't be calling me Donald."
And
And
he
then when
grew up
she,
next to her, and she
yeah,
doesn't even know his name.
exactly, they live on the same street. He's right down the road there. So, and by the way, this takes place in Arizona, right? So,
Hmm.
it's like sort of a desertish type of community. So, want to talk about the love interest, the one he gives the money to, the $1,000 to buy the dress to make this deal. So she is, it's Cindy Mancini, played by Amanda Peterson. It's funny because I look at this, Mike, and I say Cindy. It's like a perfect name for her. But so is Amanda, right? It makes me think of the Boston song. Like, Amanda was a big name in the 80s, and
Yeah.
it was always a pretty blonde. And this lady is like archetype of the 80s high school hottie.
Hmm.
And people say hottie now, but remember back when people say, "Oh, she's a fox."
Hmm.
Was that was the 80s, right?
Oh yeah.
So she just is just gorgeous, perfect person for the role. Still, a little bit of her is she acts. I feel like she does a good job acting like a high schooler too. Like when she gets so upset, about the dress, and like she's very emotional. So she carries herself like, hey, like, I'm the popular girl in school, and she's got a certain amount of composure. But then she does have these moments where, like, I believe that I don't know how old she was when she played it, but I believe like, hey, this is like a 17 or 18-year-old. So I think she's the perfect person. And she's really, really cute. Could watch her on screen all day, Mike. What's your take on her?
Yeah, this is probably going to blow you away, Gonzo, because
Okay.
I was doing a deep dive on Cindy Mancini, Amanda Peterson. Uh, did a great job, showed a lot of potential. She was 15 when she was cast in this role. She was 16 when they shot it. I
Wow.
saw this when I was 15. I would have bet you any amount of money if you'd have said, "How old do you think this actress actually is?" I'd have been like, I don't know, 21, 22.
Yeah, yeah,
I had to go back and look a couple of different places just to make sure that was even accurate. But she was no, she was great in the role. I actually thought she was probably yeah, one of the best actors in terms of maturity, in terms of believability,
yeah, yeah,
as far as what she did.
yeah.
And
She's been in other stuff or what? Did you look any of that up?
uh, I don't want to make this a downer,
Okay.
but I'm going to throw out a little bit of trivia. Unfortunately, and this is a damn shame, uh, she died of a drug overdose at age 43.
Oh, geez,
Yeah.
bro,
And
that's terrible.
if you saw pictures, you wouldn't even recognize her. So she had yeah, so much potential. She was awesome in the role. And like Ronald's little brother Chuck said, she is the most beautiful girl in the history of this county.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So yeah, wow, that's bad news to hear that about her because I'm thinking like I've never seen her. She's the type of if she was only 15, then man,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's crazy. So no, I want to talk about what was really interesting to me, and I'm not complaining, Michael. Cindy's best friends, Barbara and Patty, these are
Yeah.
played by Tina Caspary and Darcy DeMoss.
Hmm.
What do you think about these ladies?
I thought they were great in the roles. One thing I will say is whether it's when I was 15 or right now, I'm like, they are not teenage girls. They could play the substitute teachers at this high school. They were nice looking ladies, but I was not buying into them being teenagers.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. That's exactly the same comment I had. Like, are they possibly in high school?
Yeah,
Hell no. Are they beautiful? Yes. Could they be like they're like model level beauty?
right.
But they just seem older. Like even with their interactions with Amanda, like seeing
Hmm.
her stand next to them, I'm like, they have to be in their like mid-20s, or if
Right.
not older. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, uh, for a movie like this, I can suspend disbelief because they wanted to really show this level of how these people were the cliques, the popular people, as compared to the other people. But
Yeah.
absolutely agree with you, man.
Mm.
Absolutely agree with you. Anything else on that? On those two?
No, no.
All right, very good. So I want to talk about. I'm going to start here. This is my favorite character, um, Quint. These characters we're going to talk about here are the jocks. There's like three jocks here, right? That I mean, this guy Quint is the best. I love him. He's hilarious. He's like hitting on the freshmen. He's drinking bottled like red wine with a screw on cap and trying to show how he has a point where he's like, "Hey, class, that's my new thing," or something like that, right? Now
Absolutely. I
this
love that
guy,
line.
yeah, this movie doesn't happen without him. I mean, rather this movie because he's the one who spills the wine on the suede thing when he's drinking his wine. He's the one at the end when we talk about different scenes that like it's like he's starting to fight um, with Ronald's buddy for helping one of the popular girls study math or something,
Mhm.
and like it's like he's pivotal in this, and he's hilarious throughout. He's got a lot of good lines in it. I when I was looking up just the names of all of these characters, I did not know that it listed him as a comedian by trade, like
Oh no.
like as he's older. Like so
Yeah.
he and that doesn't surprise me a bit because the guy is hilarious. I love this character. I think he does a lot to make the movie what it is. How do you feel about Quint?
I totally agree with you, man. He overshadows all the other jocks. He steals all of their scenes. Not that they did a bad job. Uh, Loved him. He is the quintessential douche. He would have been fun to party with, but he was an idiot in virtually every scene. He was like he had no self-awareness. Like you said, he spills the wine. He's the bully. He's funny. I clued in the same line you did. I'm in a class. It's
Yeah.
my new thing. Um, I think, honestly, I think all of us, at least teenage boys, we all had a little bit of Quint in us back in the day. And I've always said, if you can't look at your life and every about 10 to 15 years look back at yourself and cringe at some of the things you did and said you're not growing as a person. And definitely I think we're probably the same way. I can look back at things, hey, when I said that was so cool. When I said that or when I did that was so cool. Now you get like 20, 30 years between you and that and be like, oh my God, I hope nobody remembers that.
Exactly, exactly. So this guy, again, look him up. Court McCown. That's
Yeah,
McCown. I bet you his comedy is hilarious. I bet
yeah,
you because he's great, and I feel like that's a great way to put it. You're saying every one of us when we were in high school, every guy had a little bit of Quint in him, but every school probably had someone that was really overboard, over the
mhm,
top, just like Quint as well.
sure.
So I want to move to the next one of the jocks. This is Big John. He's a big guy, blonde guy. He's really like a big jock looking guy. So what do you think about his role, Big John?
Yeah, I mean, that actor, he is always entertaining. He's been around as a supporting actor for decades. I think you can agree. You see him pop up in all sorts of movies and TV shows, but he's never like the lead. Again, I think he was overshadowed by Quint, but I thought he was surprisingly understated. Quint stole most of the scenes from the jocks, except with the exception of Big John busting ass about every 15 to 20 minutes, and you could have made a drinking game out of that. That was probably all the protein powder that he's
Yeah.
down in during the off season for football.
Yeah. I feel like this guy does come across as the perfect jock. And I know people in my high school back in the 80s that I was like, there's people that I'm like, I know someone who looked exactly like him
Yeah,
and was that big. And I know I've seen him. I feel like I've seen him around. The only thing I could put my finger on, Mike, was I saw him in Starship Troopers
yeah,
in like the training scene when they're training the infantry. He's one of the guys in the platoon there. So, but it's not a major role at
yeah.
all. But anything else you remember him from?
No, I took a look at his filmography. That was the one role that jumped out at me, but he has been in dozens of things,
Yeah.
from movies to TV. So he's had a good career, but nothing. This is probably one of his biggest roles.
Yeah, and this is Eric Bruscotter.
Mhm.
So look out for him, but I don't know that we'll see him again. I don't know.
Right.
It's like a lot of little roles here and there. So the next guy, Ricky. So we had Quint, we had Big John, and then Ricky.
Hmm.
Ricky's totally he's played by Gerardo Mejia,
Hmm.
and he's like built. He's a tall guy. He looks like sort of Hispanic descent to me. He is uh, uh, he's wearing no shirt in home economics. He like in the home economics class, which I don't even know if people these days know that there was a class like that, right?
Right.
They had a class where it was set up like a kitchen with cabinets and
Hmm.
uh, and like people would go learn how to be like a homemaker, right, or
Yeah.
something. Like they would bake things.
Hmm.
I can't even believe someone probably make a serious complaint these days if one of the high schools, a public high school, listed this as a class. I can't believe they do this anymore. They're pushing people towards STEM classes now, but home economics was a thing. And there's Big John in home ec.
Hmm.
eating a raw egg, and Ricky is in there with his shirt off with just an
Yeah.
apron on. And hey,
Hmm.
he's in shape. I give it to him. He plays a pretty small role as a jock, but he's just sort of
Yeah.
always there in the group. I don't remember specifically any great lines. I think they showed him at the pool party. That one party that they were at a pool near the start. I guess this is the party where Quint accidentally throws the wine all over the dress, but he's like
Hmm.
talking to freshmen and sort of hitting on them. But like I mean, he's a good guy. I remember him from Colors, the movie
Uh-huh.
Colors, which is an 80s movie, and he was in the Latin gang. I don't know what it was called in Colors, but I remember him from that. He played a great part in that. He just really believable as some like East LA, gang member, the way he pulled it off. So that's what I remember from him. What do you got on Ricky?
No, no, I'm with you, Gonzo. He was decent in the role. Nothing really stood out except he was one of the more popular jocks. Like you said, he was part of that group. I never put this together that this is the same, and I know in Spanish it should be more like Gerardo, but he is the same Gerardo that did Rico Suave back in the 90s. And I never put that together. And he was like a one-hit wonder.
That's
Uh,
him.
that is him.
You're
I was
kidding.
like, yeah. And now when you go back and you hear his voice, I was like, yeah, if you put a drum track behind that, that is absolutely
There you go. Wow.
Gerardo. And then I read on Wikipedia, he later became a pastor. I did not see that coming from Rico Suave.
No, no.
So,
Wow. So he made his way, right? So
yeah,
I guess he made his way in life.
sure.
That's a long way coming from those movies to where that is. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy. So yeah, but not a huge role, but he did fit in good as one of the jocks. He's got the look. He's there. He's a big guy. He's in shape, and he's a good looking guy. So the girls are gonna like him. So I want to talk about other characters. Ronald's best friend. This is his best friend's name is Kenneth Courtney Gaines.
Yeah.
This is the redhead guy. What's your take on his character?
All right. So, like you said, Kenneth, Ronald's best friend, I thought he did a great job. He probably had the most intense scene in the movie in terms of when Ronald was trying to make good. He'd already, threw dog crap all over his door for Halloween when he was trying to maintain his popularity and go along with the jocks. But Ronald comes in there. He's playing some kind of motorcycle video game
Yeah,
and he won't listen to Ronald. So Ronald messes the game up. Now, back in the 80s, if somebody was into video games, you don't mess their game up. So between the dog crap on the front door and the messing up the video game, he went high and to the right. So Kenneth basically told him, "You shit on my house, dude."
yeah,
And
yeah,
I thought they made his character. You actually absolutely started to resent Ronald because they made his character so likable and like such a good friend. Like you could tell he was going to be somebody that if you were good to him, this is somebody that's going to be friends for life. And hey, I'm like anybody else. I'm sure I folded under some peer pressure here and there back in school. It was hard for me to wrap my mind around doing that to one of your best friends,
yeah.
uh, regardless.
I mean, he tried at once just to say, hey, like when they were in the van. So one of the things is this group of jocks, right? For everyone, I didn't cover this in the plot. This group of jocks every Halloween they go out and like really vandalize someone's house, eggs, toilet paper, maybe. They put and then they have a dog poop bomb in a brown paper bag, and they swing it against the door, and the bag breaks open, so there's dog poop all over there. And they're going to this house. They're like, "We got the perfect house. We've been doing it 5 years in a row, or something." And once they pull up in front, he realizes it's Kenneth's house, and he's like,
Hmm.
"No way! I got a better house. Let's go right down the road." That's
Right.
all he does. That's all he's got. That's all the
Hmm.
metal he has within him. And they're like, "What are you still a nerd?" And he's like, "Okay, I'll do it."
Right.
Like it wasn't
Yeah,
that big.
I'm good.
And then they give him the poop bomb. And then the bad thing is that's why Kenneth knows, because they didn't get away with it, because right, Kenneth's dad and his brother and Kenneth are waiting because they're like, they know this happens every year, and they actually throw a net and catch Ronald. Kenneth catches him and
Yeah.
sees it's him and just lets him go. He's just like so disappointed,
Yeah.
heartbroken, right? Like Kenneth, this is a good part for him.
Hmm.
Courtney Gaines does a great job. Like you said, I like him. He's doing the right thing in life. He's studying. He's minding his own business. He's not worried about popularity. But if someone needs help, he'll help them. You know, he'll help the popular people study if they ask him for it. He's not going to be like, no, you guys, I'm not part of your crew. He just seems like an all around nice guy, some type of guy you'd like to be your neighbor. I know
Yeah.
this is funny, Mike. I said the
Hmm.
last episode that I'd like Mr. Miyagi to be my neighbor. So maybe we get
Right.
Kenneth on one side and Mr.
Oh,
Miyagi on the other. We're
that
like
would be a great neighborhood.
easy street, right? Now I saw him and I remind I we're gonna there's another movie. I think it's on a list. I don't know if it is
Mhm.
actually. The Burbs, one of Tom
Mhm.
Hanks's earlier movies when he was still like a comedian
Yeah.
and not a serious dramatic actor. He was in The Burbs. He played the weirdest role of like this kid named Hans, who,
Mhm.
who was like just really weird, just a
Yeah.
weird role. Well, you have to see The Burbs. I'm not going to go into that.
Yeah.
And he was also in colors, so that's why I wasn't surprised when like he could turn around. You said the most, I guess serious scene or whatever when
Mhm.
he pushes Ronald hard into that
Yeah.
next machine. Like I'm like, oh, he's got some game. Like he could throw down if he has to, right?
Oh yeah.
And he played a character named Whitey in
Mhm.
Colors, who was, and he yes he's a redhead,
Mhm.
light complexion, got freckles, but he pulled off a guy in that Latin gang,
Mhm.
and the character's name was Whitey, and he did well in it. Yeah, I mean it was believable. So he's a great actor. And the
Yeah.
movie, I don't think can happen without him either, because we're
Yeah.
seeing how changing from the popular group, and just he's ignoring Kenneth. Ronald
Mhm.
ignores him. He's missing. He keeps promising, oh, we'll hang out, let's do something together, and he keeps standing him up. And then at the end does the thing on the house, and then he's like, hey, like,
Yeah.
once he gets his facade gets broken, then he wants to go back to his friend, right?
Yeah.
Ronald does. So the great actor, great actor. Now I wanted to talk about Ronald's little brother,
Mhm.
because I saw this way back, and of course it was just some kid,
Yeah.
and I felt like when I saw it again to watch for this to prepare for this, I watched it and I was like, I wasn't looking at any of the credits or anything. I'm just like, I know this person. This
Yeah.
kid has done something, and I knew I recognized him. I couldn't put it together
Mhm.
um, until I see it says Seth Green. Seth Green plays Chuck, which is Ronald's little brother, who plays a funny part, not pivotal in the whole story,
Yeah.
but I mean that was his start. So, and I remember him. I'm thinking from movies, and I don't even know if I'm getting the right movie here. I'm thinking
Mhm.
like movie Without a Paddle, if that's the name of the movie.
Yep.
And then there's a movie like Can't Hardly Wait. It's like a high school type of movie where he's in there. There's not that much I remember him from, but he's
Mhm.
done a lot of stuff. And my understanding is doesn't someone utilize his voice for something
I think so. Probably
like
probably one of those
Family
Self
Guy
MacFarlane or
or okay,
yeah.
one of these things, right? So,
Yeah.
so I thought he played a good role as a little kid. It was sort of funny. It was sort of not believable how he was and how his
Mhm.
parents treated him, but I mean, it was a little comedy relief there.
Yeah.
What's your take on Seth Green's role there?
Uh, where Quint was your favorite character, like if we have a favorite character, I thought he stole the show in terms. I loved him in that role because he just had so many good lines, and of course, you can't have good lines without good delivery. So he just had me cracking up. Exactly like you said, he was not pivotal to the story at all, but he was uh, even the line about grades when Rhonda was like, well, we haven't got grades yet, and of course your little brother Chuck's going to throw you under the bus. Well, you're the only one kindergarten through college who didn't, and it's like I wonder. Now I never had a little brother, but I can see that. Um, like when he tried to go do damage control for Ronald, and he
Yeah,
goes to Cindy, and she said, "Oh, I see he sent his boy." And to have this
yeah.
13-year-old, it's a typical 13-year-old middle schooler. It's like, "Boy, I see no boy here." Uh, and then when what did he say? He crystallized what had happened when he told Cindy. He said, "You took my brother from geek status to king status to no status."
Yeah,
Uh, and like you said, he, if you showed me a picture of Chuck and you just said, who is it? I would never guess that was Seth Green. I mean, that's how young he was when he played this role. He didn't even look familiar to me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just was like, something did look familiar to me, but I could
Yeah,
not place it. I was like, I don't know. I
right.
swear, like something, but I just didn't. I just couldn't put it. But yeah,
Yeah,
he was young. He was a young guy. It was one of his first movies. I'm quite sure, just at his
yeah,
age. He was very young. Some good zingers. Yeah, he's a
yeah.
pain in the ass little brother. And
Hmm.
then I like how Cindy puts the powder all over his face, the makeup powder, because
Oh,
he's like you nuked my brother or something, right?
yeah,
So that was pretty good. So last character I want to talk about here, not a big part at all,
yeah.
but Bobby. This is Cindy's old boyfriend. So Cindy was dating the most popular guy in her school in her
Hmm.
junior year. This
Yeah,
movie takes place in her senior year, and this guy is off playing football in college somewhere.
right.
And he comes back and he hears that she had dated him and she made Ronald popular. Like he comes back
Hmm.
for the New Year's party,
Right.
and who tells him? Who tells him? He's like, what happened? He said, Ronald
Hmm.
Miller. He's the popular guy. He's been with every chick in the
Yeah,
school, and he's like, what are you crazy? He was like, oh,
yeah,
he wasn't with the captain of the cheerleaders. And
yeah,
Quint, my boy Quint, is the one that says, well, yeah, actually, he was. And he's like, what? And then he takes her in the back room. This is where it all unravels. He
yeah.
surprises her, and he's like, what did you do with the lawn boy, right? And she's like so embarrassed about this whole thing. She tells him,
Yeah.
hey, hey, he paid me $1,000 to date him for 2 months. Now
Mhm.
Bobby, I think, jumps from dating and to make him popular to like they were doing it or something,
Right.
because he's like,
Yeah.
that makes you a whore. And then he
Hmm.
runs out of the house or whatever. And
Yeah.
then that's when Cindy tells everyone in front of the whole party, all the popular people,
Hmm.
hey, I paid him. That's what
Yeah.
made him popular. And he thought you all would like him, and you all did. Right. Um,
Yeah.
so I just want to say here, worst mullet I've ever seen on a guy is Bobby. That's why I
Uh,
wanted to put him on here. He did have
yeah.
that pivotal role to uncover the whole thing,
Yeah.
but any words on Bobby from you? I think he was like going to Iowa or something, or
Yeah, like you say, Gonzo, he was a huge presence in the storyline, even though he was probably only in the movie for like 5 to 10 minutes total. Uh, but the way he talked about Cindy, she seemed to be just another one of his accomplishments. And I think we can see that, we were in high school, we know life after high school, whether it's military, college, whatever, we know what a small percentage of relationships are going to survive that time frame. Not to say that none do, but relatively speaking, it's not a lot. So he's kind of moving on with his life. He's coming back. He's at the party because, like, hey, I'm a little fish on campus at the college. No matter how good he's doing at ball,
yeah,
he's still a freshman. He's
yep,
coming back to soak it all up. So I think we can probably relate to that. You got
yep.
that transitional phase where you're leaving high school and you're trying to mentally leave high school too.
Absolutely, absolutely. He comes back. He's sort of hey, I want to be the big fish again for a bit, and probably hook up with his girl, right? He's thinking. Um, so okay, what's your favorite part? Favorite scene? The best part of this movie for you? I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, so uh, I I started off and I was going to go for the scene uh, that was predictable and the kind of the scene where Ronald's uncovered and the whole scheme. Uh, when Ronald had everybody doing the African identity ritual at the dance, initially the two girls were watching. One of them said, "What a spaz." The other one said, "Oh, he must be in special ed." And then Big John turned around and said, "That is bizarre." But before it was over, everybody was falling in line. We're really just a bunch of sheep, aren't we, Gonzo?
Yeah, yeah. So that's my favorite part too, and I think it like it's showing us. like, hey, here's what this whole movie is about, right?
Yeah.
In this one scene, all these people will follow. This guy does a thing. This guy is now popular, and he's doing this stupid dance with to explain to everybody. He's like, he gets invited to this dance by one of after the breakup with Cindy. He gets invited and by one of Cindy's friends, Patty or whoever, and she's like, "Oh, I bet you have some hot dance moves," and he's like, "Yeah, I do." And then he's like, he wakes up that morning of the dance. He's like, "Crap, I
Oh
don't know how to
yeah.
dance." So he goes and strong arms Chuck, his little brother, which is Seth Green,
Right.
strong arms him into giving him the TV because there's like one TV in the house, I guess, and he wants to watch American Bandstand so he can try to learn some dance moves. So Chuck turns the channel. I don't think on purpose, but he just turns it, and then there's
Mhm.
two people dancing, and they're doing this African anteater ritual dance, and it's this really wacky dance. It's
Right.
crazy. That's why people, if you haven't seen it, you need to see this at least for this scene, right? And he's doing this dance, and then he's like, "Okay, I got these moves down." He's got them. Ronald is like, "Okay, I'm ready for the dance," and then he leaves the TV on, and then Chucky comes back and is like, um, he at the end of the dance he realizes it's like PBS
Right.
and it's like African cultural hour, right?
Right.
And this was an actual African anteater ritual dance, so that Ronald just learned, and Chucky's laughing because he's like, I listen, I'm calling him Chucky because of the red hair. It reminds me of the horror movie, right? A
Oh,
little
good
back.
point.
So Chuck, I think is what they called him. But uh, so so Chuck's laughing because he's, oh, Ronald, my big brother just learned all these dance moves he thought was American Bandstand, but now he's going to go in high school and make a fool of himself
Hmm.
and do this anteater ritual. So, but everyone follows like sheep, like you said. Everyone follows. It's like, hey, he's popular. He's doing it. It must be good. We'll all do it too, which is just like Ronald said, like at start. Cindy said, yeah, just being seen with me and hanging out with me is not going to make you popular. He was like, oh, I think it will, right? I think it will.
Hmm.
So great scene. I think it's like, it shows the whole movie in one scene of what this movie is about: following and groups and popularity and the stupid things that come along with that. So I do want to give an honorable mention. That's my favorite scene. So that's the second favorite scene we agree on, right?
I know. Good
So
taste.
what's the first one was what were we talking about? Was that St. Elmo's fire? Yeah, it was Kirby's Adventure, right?
Yep.
When he goes up there and then he kisses her, gives her the picture,
Yeah.
right?
Andy McDowell.
That's right. That's right. So this is we're 2 out of 3 now on favorite scenes. I do want to give an honorable mention to the cafeteria speech near the end because when Ronald takes, it's I think it's Quint is going to beat Kenneth up,
Hmm.
Ronald's good buddy, because Kenneth is helping someone with geometry or something or trig or something like that.
Right.
He's helping one of the Patty or Barbara, one of the cheerleaders, and she's like, "Oh, thank you so much." Gives him a hug or something,
Hmm.
and Quint is like, "Oh, look, he's trying to pull a Ronald Miller and become popular, hang out with our girls." So Quint's over there is going to beat him up, right?
Hmm.
And so Ronald gets up. He's often in the frozen tundra, off on a table by himself because no one will sit with him because they know he paid Cindy for this. So he's like persona non grata. He gets up, grabs the baseball bat that the baseball players had with all these jocks play all the sport, smash. He says, "Get your hands off of him." And Quint looks at him like, "Get out of
Hmm.
my face." And he smashes the table. Someone's lunch gets destroyed. And then they have the talk. I thought that speech was good because they were talking about stuff. I remember um, that things like this happened. There's a kid that you might have known
Hmm.
in elementary school, used to hang out, and when you were little kids and maybe play in the streets or ride bikes together or something, and then
Yeah.
years later in high school, the same kid, and you had this connection when you were little,
Hmm.
ignores you because you're not one of the popular people, and he is now, or you're not in his clique.
Right.
I've seen it happen. I've experienced it. So I thought that's a great
Hmm.
scene, and that's what's really. So that's a great scene at the end there. That's not the final scene, but that's the one where I think Cindy starts thinking like, maybe he is a good guy, right? Even though this whole thing fell apart.
Yeah.
So
And
go ahead.
Gonzo, I think you're right. It almost, if you take it the scene for what it was, you would almost think because of everybody's reaction, oh my God, Ronald Miller just changed the direction of this high school.
Yeah, yeah, and
Because
everyone's
everybody was just like,
You got to
coming
give it.
together over
You
that.
you got to give it to Big John for starting the clap. That's
Right.
his
The
biggest
slow
part.
clap.
He's like,
Yeah.
let's do this. Let's clap them out, and then the whole
Mhm.
school, and then the table of like the nerds really goes crazy, right?
Yep.
Because there's like, hey, like we're people too, but
That's
finally,
right.
right? But it's a good speech that Ronald gives. He was like the cools, the jocks, the nerds, whatever. We're all people. Let's just be. It's hard enough to be yourself, right? And
Hmm.
that's a great scene there. So.
Sure.
Um, Least favorite or stupidest scene. Now, I'm going to go through this here. I'm going to
Hmm.
start here. I think you already brought it up. The Big John fart scenes
Hmm.
completely unnecessary. We
Right.
don't need them. They did good because I think he farts in home ec. I think
Hmm.
he farts out the window of his own house, maybe, or someone's house,
Yeah.
and he farts into the car, which that's a
Hmm.
bad idea. Why are you going to let a guy fart
Right.
into your car? But these are great for Seth Green's character to get totally crushed, right? Because
Yeah.
he happens to be getting farted on two or three times in this
Oh,
movie,
yeah.
and it's funny for him to like see him like fall out of the car. That was a pretty good scene when he's like crawling out of the car on hands and knees because Big John farted in the window.
Absolutely.
But I think hey, this movie could be fine without any of that. I just feel like why did they do this? Was it just because I feel like someone's like we need
Hmm.
something for Seth Green to do or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Hmm.
So that's my. I think we totally could lose those scenes.
Yeah. I think you nailed it. I almost went there. That was almost my least favorite. And then I was like, it's funny because my least favorite part, it wasn't stupid. It was definitely necessary for the plot, but the dating montage, uh, Cindy reads Ronald her poems. Ronald shows Cindy the moon through the telescope,
Oh
and the airplane graveyard. It just slowed it down a little bit for me. Again, something like that had to happen. It was definitely my least favorite part. I also could have lost the line because I think Cindy seemed pretty mature and fairly intelligent up to that point. I really don't think they need to have her saying, well, that's why you're so much into astrology, right? I'm like, okay, well, somebody that's a senior in high school and got it going on is going to know the difference between astrology and astronomy. So they probably could have cut that line.
yeah, and I think they put some of those scenes. They did slow the movie down. I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
I think they were trying to say, hey, we need her to see that he's a normal and
yeah,
interesting guy, not just
absolutely.
no. He's interesting. He's got compassion, and like
Right.
they had him read her poetry, and he's
Hmm.
saying, "Thank you for sharing these with me." So it's like he's a, whatever.
He's a very sensitive guy.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
put him on the mat with Johnny Lawrence from
right.
Karate Kid, and he goes down hard, just like Ralph Macchio would.
Oh, yeah.
So, but yeah, I could see what you're saying there, and then he's giving her the motivational speech. You can do anything, right, or whatever. So she's like, oh, what a nice guy he really is, right? And then that leads you though to the part where he's like, hey, we need to talk, right?
Hmm.
It's at the end of the 2 months. They've dated for 2 months. He is now popular. And
Yeah.
she's like, we need to talk because she's seen the soft side of him, seen that he's a nice guy. And
Hmm.
she's thinking like they're in this car. It's like they're reclined back looking at the sky or something because they're looking at the stars.
Yeah.
And like it's perfect chance for him to kiss her. Right.
Right.
This is what is you're thinking is could happen here.
Hmm.
And she goes, we need to talk. Like, and she's going to be like, we can still hang out. And like, I think I'm starting to like you or whatever she's going to say. And we don't have to care about what other people think or whatever.
Hmm.
And she's ready to like get to actually date this dude. And he's an idiot.
Yeah.
He's a total idiot. But again, he's a high school kid. So
Right.
yeah, it makes sense. He's an idiot. Goes, yeah, you're right. We do need to talk about how we're
Hmm.
going to do our big breakup
Yeah.
because his plan is to do a breakup with her
Hmm.
and make it a big scene in the school. And then he'll be popular guy who just broke up with the best looking girl in school who would do that. Oh, only the coolest guy who's so awesome would even be able to do something like that. And then he's going to get the rest of the girls. And he does, right? But he just
Yeah.
acts like it. So he does this. He misses the boat here.
Hmm.
It's almost like this is stupidest scene that we're talking about. Maybe that we're thinking about it, right? That
Yeah.
Ronald not understanding
Hmm.
what would the movie have been like if they just fell in love? I guess it would have to be over that.
Right. There would have been no movie.
He had to be his low end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
But
had to
but
happen.
but there you go. So all right. Well, I got you. I do feel like yeah, the cream puff scene's a little bit, but that's the '80s for you, right?
Yeah.
Now, what additional comments do you have about this movie? Anything else that we haven't really talked about?
Just some quick trivia.
Yeah.
Like you, we do deep dives into these movies, and so apparently the idea came to the screenwriter from a work party he attended. He had this just average-looking colleague that came in with like a total 10 as his date. And he didn't know whether there was a connection or not, but apparently over the next 6 months to a year, this guy's career just took off because like his value just increased socially in everybody's eyes. Um,
Interesting. Interesting.
yeah. And so this movie was originally slated to be an R-rated sex comedy. TriStar gave it up to Walt Disney's Touchstone Pictures, and the
Hmm.
original title was going to be Boy Rents Girl.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's not as good of a name. It's funny because it's got that "Can't Buy Me Love" has that Beatles ring, that song that they end the movie with and everything. But like,
Yep.
it has nothing to do with the Beatles, obviously, or nothing really even to do with that song. I mean, I guess I get it a little bit, but uh, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy that a guy saw that. So this guy at this party then gets this hot chick, who knows how, and
Right.
then suddenly his career boosts, everything boosts.
Yeah.
So this is like in the adult world though, right?
Hmm.
And then say,
Yep.
oh, this would definitely happen tenfold extra magnified in high school, as bad as
Right.
all the clicks and everything were,
Hmm.
um, so uh, comment I had, there was a remake on this in
Hmm.
2003, and they did it in like it was like in an African American neighborhood in a high school that was predominantly African American,
Hmm.
and they called it "Love Don't Cost a Thing." And I've not seen it. I wouldn't suggest seeing it because it's
Hmm.
got a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes,
Oh, wow.
and and apparently it was really bad,
Okay.
but someone just said, "Hey, we're going to make this in a different sort of context,"
Hmm.
and the idea they had there. So, but it bombed. It was terrible. I never even heard of it. I just saw this as I was looking through some about the movie and the names of the characters and getting that
Hmm.
down and everything. And I saw it. I was like, "Oh, there's a remake." I was thinking immediately, like, "Oh, maybe I'll watch it." And then I looked, read a little bit about it. I said, "Oh, I'm never
Hmm.
watching that. It's terrible." Right. So,
Yeah.
um, so. I think also I want to make a comment here. Uh, Additionally, it's like some of these 80s movies, um, and I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not, so feel free
Hmm.
to throw me under the bus here.
Sure.
But some of these 80s movies, a lot of these 80s movies, what I think of the John Hughes movies, the Breakfast Clubs, the 16 Candles, um, those sorts of movies, and then you've got like your Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and you've got these different movies. It's like
Hmm.
there's a lot about the problems and the cliques and in the high school, the social groups that you have in school when kids are young, that they
Yeah.
split into. And it's a true thing. It's always been a true thing. I mean, they did it
Hmm.
in American Graffiti. That was on the TV here just a few minutes back before we started this recording. I flipped through and saw Richard
Yeah.
Dreyfuss in American Graffiti. But I'm feeling like the 80s at the time, the economy was going well. After they got through the Carter era, and things were on the up and up for the economy. People weren't waiting in long lines for gas anymore. We
Yeah.
did it. We did have the Cold War hanging over our heads, but besides that, things in America were pretty good.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of these movies at that time focused on like, okay, if we don't have any real huge problems here at home, what is a problem? So, well, okay, kids are clicky. Okay, well, let's go.
Let's do that.
Let's do that because it is wrong to have nerds and geeks and jocks and stoners, and because kids shouldn't separate. So I feel like this is definitely first world problems, right? So
Hmm. Sure.
that's what I feel about that. I just wanted to make
Hmm.
that comment.
Yeah.
So all right. So message. We're going to start this. I think uh, what's the message, lesson, moral of the story? If we're looking at these movies, Mike, and we
Hmm.
can't find one, then maybe we shouldn't be watching these movies. And right now
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Lost Boys and wonder what the message is going to
I'm gonna have to
be.
dig deep.
So think on that. Have a beer and think on that later
Hmm.
today. But message, message, lesson, or moral of the story. I think the message here is I love it. Clicks, it's a thing. Popularity isn't all that, and you should just be yourself. I think it's a great message.
Hmm.
Um, people can take as adults in the workplace. I think people can take it as kids in school, and not worry so much about what other people are thinking of you. And people talk about this. I guess they call it these days that the big buzzword. There's people say be authentic, right? Be
Mhm.
authentic. Be who you are. And so I think that's a great message. And besides, like the message here is, man, groupthink and socially, like people will do a lot of stuff, right? If
Yeah.
they think someone is special or important,
Mhm.
um, you know, because of whatever reason. So and people will follow. There's a dark side to that too, obviously, right? When you talk about some of the terrible leaders we've had in the world,
Mhm.
that it's almost unfortunate, but it does make that commentary on that. But I think it's a good message. Be yourself. It's not about being popular. Don't don't be leaving people like Kenneth out in the dark because they're not a big football star or something. When it's a really genuinely good person who's going to be there for you, right? And
Absolutely.
I think that's important. What message really did you take out of it, Mike?
Yeah, it kind of segues into I absolutely agree with what you're saying, Gonzo. I think in life, sometimes we're going to lead and sometimes we're going to follow. All of us are going to be followers at some time or another, whether it's at work, whether it's at life, and then hopefully we're going to lead one day in some respect. So it's not bad to be a follower sometimes. We just want to make sure that the person or the group or the cause or whatever we're following is worthy of us following that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. That's well said, man. Well said. All right. So overall take, man. Overall take. What's your overall take on this movie?
Uh,
Yeah, just sum it
Overall,
up.
I think by switching gears from a teen sex comedy to a movie with something to actually say, the director really elevated the story beyond probably what even their expectations were back then. Otherwise, I don't even think we'd be talking about it today. So I think the fact that they pivoted the plot and gave it a real message and something to grab onto made it something special.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And regardless of what any critical, what the critics said, I feel like you're right. Yeah, I feel like it is a message. It's a message directed at people, going through puberty, that those high school years, those, again, there we go, coming of age sort of type of time in your life when you're figuring out who you are. I think it's a great message, and they classed it up definitely. I didn't want to see Amanda Peterson with her shirt off or anything. So
Right.
because she's like the wholesome good girl, and we don't need to get everything doesn't need to be like Porky's. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Right.
So like trashy and everything. So that's why this got nominated for a best family movie in the comedy genre. Didn't win, but it was a nominated. So yeah, overall, I thought it was good. I liked it. Probably for the reasons I told you. Um, uh, uh, Back when I saw it first, but I watched it again here, and I still liked it. So I'm going to say, if we're going to the watch it or trash it for people who haven't seen it, or people who are from the 80s who have that video cassette tape sitting on their
Mhm.
shelf, I'm going to say watch it if you haven't seen it, and watch it again if you have.
Yeah. Uh, I'm right there with you. Definitely watch it. One thing I would add, anybody that's out there is listening, especially somebody in their teens, 20s, I would love to hear your take
Oh, yeah.
from watching it today because I know, you know, every generation that grows up, we've got our own set of challenges. Some things are going to be similar, but the way those challenges manifest are going to be different, especially with technology today, social media, cultural shifts. I would love for somebody to watch that and say, hey, here's what I can connect to. This is not a thing anymore. You know,
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
love to hear that.
Yeah, yeah, no, me too. Me too. I think that's a great point. And I know my sons are in their 20s. They have
Mhm.
seen it. And besides what you're always going to get, wow, did people really do things like that back then? Right. Besides those comments about like the 80s and the clothes and the different things like the hairdos. Yeah, I think they like the message. But I would love to hear from people for sure. So we're going to give it a rating. Remember, it's like sort of a 1 through 5, 5 being the best. One is, hey, go take a bathroom break. Two is no snacks. Just sit and maybe scroll through your phone while this movie's playing. Uh, Three is like sort of in the middle, pretty average,
Mhm.
a Coke. Um, four is going to be a Coke, a pop, and some popcorn. And then the overall excellent rating is a Coke, popcorn, and a box of Raisinets for me because I love the Raisinets. I know you like the Goobers.
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to give this one. Well, you want to rate first, or you want me to?
Oh, go ahead, Gonzo.
I'm going to give it a Coke and popcorn because it's just not highest level best of
Uh,
the best. And I think we do have some of those on our list. But I liked it, which is good. That's like a B. I'll give it a B plus type of thing, right? So what do
okay.
you got?
You surprised me. I thought you were going Coke, popcorn, box of Raisinets
I
because I am
it's
going Coke and popcorn. I
Coke and Puffs.
absolutely I love it, but it is nowhere near the top of my list in terms of movies that really stuck with me through the 80s. But I definitely little bit of personal trivia. For some reason, I thought I already owned this movie because I have a habit of going on Amazon and sweeping up uh, movies when they go on sale for like $3 or $4. This movie was on sale. It was rent for like $3.99, buy for $4.99. So I went ahead and snatched it up and just bought it. So I'll definitely watch it again.
There you go. Yeah, yeah, very good, very good. So we agree here again, a Coke and popcorn.
Yeah.
So good movie, not master class, right? So
No.
all right. So looks like I think we did a good one on that. I think I'm hoping people want to go watch that movie now. So
Yeah.
thanks for listening. We sort of hit that movie from all sides. Thanks for listening to Gonzo, Mike, and a VCR. If you enjoyed, please follow or subscribe. We would really appreciate it. And if you have a movie you'd like us to watch, or just have a comment, or even if you want to donate to Mike's Beer Fund, go ahead and shoot us an email. The email is gonzomikevcr at gmail.com. That's GONZOMIKEVCR at gmail.com. I'm going to be checking that thing once a day. Our next episode, unless we change here, Mike,
Hmm.
we could change.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this offline.
Okay.
To the infamous Lost Boys. That's
Hmm.
always possibility. Anyone may turn it on and see that we changed. But
Yeah.
what we had previously planned to do, it's a
Yeah.
movie that it was very popular when it came out. I remember it being popular because I worked in a
Right.
movie theater in the 80s
Yeah.
um, until I got fired. But anyway, that's a long story. So
That's another episode.
yeah, yeah. It's a movie that I'm not sure I ever saw all the way through, but I remember, I believe, seeing it when I worked at the movie theater, like parts. You always see the start of movies and the end of movies at the movie
Mhm.
theaters. So you want to tell them what it is, Mike?
Yeah, yeah. This is early Michael Keaton and Mr. Mom.
Yeah, and that's even before. This is Mr. Mom even before he played Batman.
Absolutely, because and
Oh
I'll tell you
man.
why I know that, Gonzo, because and I did love his Batman, but when I first heard, hey, Michael Keaton's going to be the new Batman, I'm like, Mr. Mom is going to be Batman. This is going to suck.
And was he not with it? Was it when he was Batman? Was it Kim Basinger?
It was Vicky
Oh,
Vale.
that almost makes you just want to watch it. That
Oh yeah,
one, that one again. So,
yeah.
all right. So that's what we'll be looking at, unless we jump ship off of that and go to Lost Boys, which we're probably bound to do one day. But we'll talk about. So, well, that's a wrap, folks. I'm Gonzo.
Mike.
Until next time, keep watching movies. Gonzo Mike and VCR is produced by Gonzo and Mike. All rights reserved.